Hello everyone, Michael Williams here with Racing the Planet. So I am here today to help you guys do your gear check, look at some different things, some different gear, and help you guys prepare for an upcoming race. All right, this is going to cover the three major races that they do: Atacama, Gobi, and of course Africa. And also this will help with the roving race that occurs every other year. Now Antarctica, that's a gear check all in itself and won't be included today for you guys. All right, so let's get right into it. Two of the most important pieces of gear, I think. Number one for me, backpack. All right, you guys. Now there's countless backpacks. There are different styles, different zippers, different light weights. I would recommend at least a 25 liter. I wouldn't go over at 30 because the bigger your bag, the more you're going to pack. All right. So there are all different kinds. Of course, you know, people know this one, Raid Light, comes built in with everything for us. You know, very, very light, very quick backpack. Lots of little nooks and crannies in these guys. This is one I've used before by OMM. You know, this is a Phantom backpack with them. Also has everything built into it. Great backpack. Also lightweight. But my favorite and my most streamlined, and this is also an OMM bag, is just their classic 25 liter. So I'm a guy who likes to race very clean. You know, you can put your water bottles on the front. You still have a couple of side pockets for little things on the outside, but very, very nice, very easy to get into. All right. And with most backpacks, I'll just add now, you know, they do come, a lot of them, with a little pad. You know, comfort-wise, we'll touch this in a minute, but these are not very comfortable to sleep on by themselves. I have done it. If you're going hardcore, you need to be weight conscious. Sleep on this. If you want comfort, we'll go over the blow-ups and the thicker pads in a minute, guys. All right. Now, next to that is your waterproof bag. All right. So 35 liter. This is a Sea to Summit. And I want to tell you guys, Racing the Planet has done a great job with giving the gear list, giving some recommendations and links right off the page to different gears, not only sometimes to companies, but to their website also. Okay, so there's lots of research that can be done when you guys are looking at different gear, trying to figure out what you want. All right, now everyone kind of huffs about the waterproof bag. You know, really, really important piece of equipment, especially if we're doing a wet run, or Carlos's famous river crossings where you may end up neck deep, which I have been before. You know, your 35 liter in your backpack. All right. And then all your gear inside your waterproof bag, sealed. And then, of course, your bag is sealed on top of that. And I will say that these lightweight bags work. I have crawled through water and come out with my clothes dry in my dry bag, and it has saved me coming into camp. All right, now water bottles, there's all different kinds of bottles. There's hard bottles. There's a couple different kinds here for you guys. Some are curved, some are round. You know, some don't have the spouts on the top. You know, it's all preference. Of course, there's soft flasks that come, also all different kinds of sizes. And everyone knows, of course, there are the backpack ones that you can put in your backpack and fill up. I will say the only kicker with these is, you know, you don't know how much water you have. And then if it's inside your bag, you have to take your pack off. You have to pull it out, open it, fill it. It just makes these kind of hard. I personally don't use these. I know a lot of people do, but I like quick, pull out, fill up, and go. And either one, depending on your bag, is great to use. All right. Now, on top of that, there is the extra platypus that you have to be able to carry the extra liter of water. All right. Platypuses are super lightweight. You can actually use your backpack bag as your extra water source too, but I like this little guy. It's quick, it's easy, it can go right on the outside of your pack. Super simple. All right. And just to note with the backpack, there's all different kinds of holders. Some come built in, like this one with Raid Light. You know, they come with built-in packs. Some of them, like the OMM, you have to add, you know, your water holder to the strap in the front. All right. It's whatever preference, whatever suits you, whatever's going to feel comfortable and cause less chafing or rubbing, what's not going to be in your face when you're moving along. Sleeping bag. Again, all different kinds of weights, all different kinds of sizes. You know, sleeping bag, I have found does few extra grams of weight for a good bag make a really good night's sleep. Whether you're in a super hot area like Africa, where maybe you're on top of it, or you're at Atacama at the start of the race where it is below 30 degrees at nighttime and, you know, it's frigid. But, you know, these ones, Marmot, which is this bag I have, which is one of my old bags, great, great, great bag. I tend to use down. It's lightweight. Even if it gets damp, it stays warm. But, you know, great bags. And these, of course, down, we won't do it here just for time. But, you know, these bags do compress down to a very, very small area. So I would look at a down. Make sure your insulation rating is good. Okay, it's listed in here for us. And yeah, a good down bag, guys, will be great and will keep you super happy. The second or first most important piece of gear is going to be your shoes, guys. Again, there are countless brands out there. These are Hoka Speed Goats. There are Salomon, Raid Light, Nike. I think everybody has trail ultra shoes now. I will just say, if you're going to get knocked out of a race, 90% of the time, it's due to blisters, guys. I've seen pancakes on people's feet with bad shoes. Get a good pair of shoes, train in them, put distance and time in them. And always, I recommend get a good insert for your shoe. A good insert will save your feet. The inserts that they give in most shoes, to me, aren't very good. They're super thin, they chafe. So just watch that. And with the shoes, we'll just add, of course, gaiters. Now, if you're racing somewhere like Africa or Atacama through the sand, get yourself a good pair of gaiters. These are the Raid Light ones. I wouldn't recommend gluing. Spend the money. Find a good person who does hobbling. Is that what it's called? To have that Velcro sewn on to your shoes. I have tried gluing. It doesn't last more than a day. The sewing is the best. And let me tell you, I'm not big on these wrapped around my feet, but it's better than knocking sand out of your shoes every mile on a course, which I have done too. So super, super important. Sandy run, get yourself some gaiters put on there. Now, of course, socks. Depends on the race. Most of them are 2 to 3 pairs mandatory. All right. Usually I'm an ankle sock guy. These are nice toe socks, all right, that everyone uses. Again, this is where saving your feet and being comfortable and having dry socks is going to really save, you know, your feet, okay? I usually do bring 3 pairs, even if it calls for 2, just so I have that one backup. I like a clean pair of socks for that long run for us that we do. All right, but any pair, usually mandatory, 2 to 3 pairs. Get good socks, train in them, and make sure that you break them in a little bit, wash them. Don't show up with brand new socks. You're going to chafe. It'd be like using brand new clothing. All right. Now next, you know, tights. This sometimes gets people, and people say why. Remember, it's usually you need 2 pairs, and I found this across the board in stage races. 1 pair of shorts, and you need one pair of long pants that completely covers your legs. All right. Now, a lot of people don't like these. I'm not big on them, but I tell you, I do use these a lot on cool mornings. They keep you warm, you take off, and you'd be surprised really how cool you still stay even in a hot environment. All right. This is 2XU. There's ones that come, of course, tights. There's just normal shorts that you can wear. I see a lot of people with tights with shorts. Again, whatever your preference, one pair has to cover your legs, one good pair of shorts. All right. Okay, running tops. Now, usually it's one running top recommended. All right. Now, of course, there's all kinds of tops. There's just normal loose, fitting tops. I happen to like heat gear. So, of course, this is more of a fitted top. Of course, make sure that your patches are sewn on properly, guys. Now, of course, you have to have your Racing the Planet and your flag. Of course, I've been around a little bit with Racing the Planet, so of course I have 4 Desert Grand Slam Pluses on, my sleeves. Now, with the short sleeves, depending on where we're at and the weight of the bag, I will also bring a long sleeve. And it's really recommended, guys. If you're a first timer, bring a short sleeve and bring a long sleeve. Even if you're not racing in this, it gets cold at night, even in the deserts and some places that we're at. And it's nice to have a clean, dry, warm shirt or even to sleep with. All right. So at least one. I would recommend, if you can get away with it, just bring 2 so you guys have it. All right. You're going to be comfortable. All right. Now, the warm tops, the same kind of things. Now, I have this one, I believe, is almost like a normal kind of a coat. All right. And remember, all your racing gear on course has to have patches. All right. So your racing shirts, your coats, your ponchos, make sure you have your patches on there. Okay. Because they need to be able to identify us. So that's safety and to know who we are. All right. But anyways, there's normal coats. This is a 2XU. I've had this bad boy for a while. Super warm. It's a little bit heavy. I've kind of moved more to the down. This is a nice down, super lightweight. North Face is this one. You can see this one's kind of one of my old racing coats too that I have. But at least one, warm long sleeve coat or top. All right. And I would definitely recommend, something a little heavier. And remember, a racing shirt does not count, guys. It has to be a separate piece of gear, okay? Now, your waterproof coats, this is nice for a windbreak. Usually this is something you use at night, or if it really starts to rain, you're going to want to have something. Now, this, of course, Raid Light, this is super lightweight. It's windproof, it's waterproof. Actually works really, really good. I kind of got into this coat just because of the weight and just because it crumples down into such a small size. My old friend here, this is Outdoor Research. Of course, you can see again, even on the Gore-Tex, I got my patches sewn on. This is really nice with this one because it has a hood, it has a zipper, and this is kind of a full coverage. And this does have a couple little pockets in it to store things too. So if you have a snack, some of them have a watch face where you can actually open up, and look at your race watch. So all different kinds of gear out there. On top of that, sometimes they do require waterproof pants. Okay. Now I'm just going to throw this one in here. Of course, I think this is Outdoor Research. Again, just nice zipper pants here is what I got. Lightweight, Gore-Tex. I would recommend, so that you don't have to take shoes off on course, to get the ones that either Velcro or zipper and open up on the bottom. That way, if it is raining, you're not taking shoes off somewhere trying to get your waterproof pants on. Okay, it just you're gonna make a mess of yourself. So look for the bottoms with zipper or Velcros or ones that open up so that you can pull them on with all your gear. All right, just a little tip and a trick there of things that I've been through and seen before. All right. Now, something I always make fun of, and I have on occasion, and I will say, and I'm not going to open it, used, is a rain poncho. Yes, even in the middle of one of the driest deserts in the world, in Atacama, you have to have your rain poncho. This is just pretty much a mandatory piece of gear across all stage racing, I think, that I've seen and been in. Just a plain, super lightweight poncho. They make ones that are heavy duty. There are covers that come with some backpacks you can use and put your poncho over it. But remember, your poncho, required piece of gear. And this, you just kind of fold up, super tiny, stick it in the bottom of your pack. You know, if it's going to be a rainy day, you have it handy. You'll have to dig down and pull it out. Now, hats, you know, little tricks here. So, has to be a hat with a neck cover. All right, which you can see here. Here's again, I think this is Outdoor Research, really good hat. Got a few of them. There's ones that come with the neck piece that will come off. You can add it back on. I found that those sometimes pull off if I'm racing with them. I think maybe I had a Raid Light one that comes apart, not sure. But, you know, great hat. If you don't want to get burned on the neck, just use your neck. You know, this is nice because these actually can be folded up usually and turned into a normal hat. Now, if you're like me and you don't want to, I always race in red. Everyone knows that, of course, seeing red. But you can get away with a hat and a buff. All right. And of course, a buff, everyone knows, does a lot of different things. You know, buffs are nice because you can put, you know, you can put your buff on and then, you know, you've got automatic coverage. You can pull it up over your head, pull it around your face. I've been in sandstorms in Atacama, and this saved us, like saved us crossing the plains out there. All right. So little trick, you know, whichever one works for you. But even if you bring a hat with a neck piece, I would do a buff, guys. Bring one of these anyways. And for me, you'll always see me, and I don't want to say I'm a trendsetter, because I've been doing this since day one. I always keep a buff on my arm. All right. So you can wipe your face, you can take it off quick access, you can rinse, pour some water on it to have. Shh, don't tell them that I told you that, but you know, you'll always have this bad boy handy. All right, with you. Okay. Of course, a warm hat, you know, some of the races, they'll require it, some they don't. I think Greece here, they do. I want to even say Atacama, we have to have it. But it's always good, you know, it's nice to have. This is OMM, super light, super small. And if you're sleeping at night and it gets cool, it's nice to be able to put this on, kind of pull it over your eyes and, you know, go to sleep. This is CEP, a little bit thicker cotton one. You know, whatever works for you guys. Nice warm hat. Always good to have. Gloves. You know, classically, just one pair is required. These are running 2XU gloves with a little storage bag pack in them, I think, in the back of the hand. They will sometimes require on a cold run a thicker pair of gloves or two. And usually that's added into a drop bag. Like if we have to bring an extra blanket or a secondary sleeping bag, an extra pair of socks. Like when we were in Patagonia, I think there was extra socks, a hat, gloves, a pair of pants. Like there was some extra gear, and it was nice because it got really cold on the long day, and a lot of people pulled out their bag and used it. But nice, lightweight pair of gloves, and a lot of people race with these to keep the sun off them. Or at night, if it gets cold, you have some nice gloves to put on. All right. Super important. Don't run without them. Get yourself a good pair of sunglasses, guys. I'm not even sure who these guys are. I beat these guys up quite a bit. I think I need a new pair. But good pair of sunglasses. I keep mine on me all the time, you know. And yeah. I know. I know I look cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks. All right, headlamps. All right, you are required to bring 2 headlamps. All right, now these are black diamond. They're a little bit bigger. They are a little bit heavier. There are ones that come half this size and half this weight. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe the rule is they're not supposed to be chargeable. They're supposed to have batteries in them. Okay. So, and I recommend, and sometimes it even says that a backup battery set is needed. Sometimes they don't mention it. I always bring 1 spare set of batteries with me. I do take that couple extra grams. I think it's important. I would never want to be caught out in the dark on a long run and not have a headlamp with me. You know, a lot of watches have lights in them now, like the Garmin's here, but you know, there are people who their headlamps have died and you have to stand on trail and wait for someone to come. All right. So 2 lamps, both with batteries. Unless there's a little change on that, I would recommend bringing 1 backup set of batteries so that you have them, you know, just in case. Even I do. It's always good to have, you know. Now we'll pull out the little extras here. Now, of course, red flashing light. All right, so of course these go on the backpack at night. So this is for safety and for if anything ever happens for them to be able to find us. All right, super cheap. You can get these anywhere, Amazon, Walmart, Target, just a nice red flashing light. I get mine with a little loop, clip it on my pack. All right. That goes with little multi-tools. This is a little Swiss Army. Okay, this is more for, you know, if you have to work on a piece of gear, if you need something for a blister, I don't know, nail, you know, you're going to have your little multi-tool. They come as little plastic credit cards now with a knife and a scissors and I think toothpick. Any of those are okay and will fit, you know, your mandatory gear. I don't usually bring this big boy anymore. I usually bring like the credit card one. It works super easy. I think Swiss Army also makes it. It's really cool. Some of them have a little light built in, you know, whatever makes you guys happy. A whistle, of course, I think everyone should know. It's for emergency situation. If anything ever happens where you can't call for help or yell, usually you have enough to at least blow a whistle. All right. So mandatory. A lot of people keep their whistle on their person. Remember, the whistle built into the backpack does not count. Remember, I've seen people running into town because they thought that would work for them, that little tiny built in. Make sure you guys have yourself an extra whistle. All right. Reflective mirror, pretty simple. If anything ever happens, you're caught out, you know, the mirrors reflect light so you can shine for an emergency situation. And then again, super important piece, they come little foldable, you know, emergency bivy bags. All right. They're super small, they're lightweight. If it gets super cold at night, you can crawl into it. If you get caught in a really bad situation, you can use this as a safety for emergency, anything like that. All right, so your emergency bivy. Of course, compass. I have a little compass with a thermometer here. So usually I keep it inside my backpack. You can do the regular topo ones if you guys like with a lanyard, but any kind of just a normal compass. Compass is on a watch. Compass is built in. Do not count. You have to have a secondary compass. All right, guys. Now, of course, everybody should know we're out in the sun a lot. Lip balm, sunscreen. Make sure you have all of that and enough. It is required, you know, 60 mils or 2 ounces of sunscreen. Again, they are pretty strict on this rule. Just bring 2 little 1 ounce bottles of sunscreen. You're going to go through it. Even I go through like all my sunscreen. And I always carry like a chapstick, with some sun protection, because your lips, your face, your nose, I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you're running, it's just something easy to put on. So super, super easy. A nice little piece of chapstick there too. All right. Now, medicines, of course, are at your discretion and are anything you may need to bring with you. God forbid, you have to take normal meds. I know diabetics have been on course that have to bring their kits with them. The medical team will go over any of that. I usually just bring, some Tylenol. Be very careful of your non-steroidal use with dehydration and kidneys, upset stomachs, anything like that. Tums, everybody around the world has all different kinds of packages of medication. But just make sure the doctors will ask us. I bring a little tiny vial, a little Ziploc, whatever's easy for you guys to get you through that 5, 6, 7 days that they're out on course. All right. Now, one piece of gear that I keep on my person on the outside of my pack is my blister kit. Now, this is the same original old boy pack that I got 10 years ago from Racing the Planet's website. You can see it's all worn off. That shows you how well made this is. Now, of course, I've replaced everything inside of it. Now, the blister kit is mandatory. There is a very nice list on here about which needles, tape, sometimes I bring powder, K-tape, super glue, alcohol pads. Be prepared to fix your own feet. Don't rely 100% on medical. They have a lot of stuff. They do have foot baths, but there are times that you may have to work on your feet yourself, okay? Whether it's your feet or if something else happens, all right? So blister kit mandatory. Doesn't have to be huge, enough for you to get yourself through the race, all right? Very, very important, and probably maybe number 3 most important piece of gear, next to food, which maybe food is number 1 for me. But I do keep it on the outside. If you ever, have to stop, it's easier to take it off and work on your feet than have to, dismantle your whole pack. It's very stressful to start rummaging through. Your mind's not in the right place. So keep those emergency things right handy and ready to use. All right, a little trick for you guys. Now, of course, some other things we'll touch on quick. Compression bandage, of course, I think everybody requires this. If you get a sprain, if you get an injury, you can use this as a tourniquet, God forbid. Straightforward compression bandage. They come all different sizes. I stick mine in a Ziploc, stick it in my bag, ready to go. All right. Of course, make sure you have a bunch of little safety pins. All right. You got to have enough for 1, 2, 3, 4 to put your racing bib on the front of your racing outfit, fully, exposed and seen. Depending on the race, sometimes they have us put one on the backpack too. Most times they do. So I would say, I think it's minimum 8, 12 that they recommend. I usually bring about 15 of them because you always end up losing a couple of these during a race. So make sure, bring some extra ones. I keep them in a tiny little Ziploc. I throw them in usually with my blister kit is where I usually toss these guys. And then, of course, alcohol gel and your toiletries. Now, sometimes we get very lucky and there is some alcohol sanitizer and some portalets with some tissue paper or something that we can use to wipe with. Do not rely that it is going to be there. Make sure you have enough for the week. Now, that said, I usually keep another little Ziploc bag with my wipies and an alcohol gel and toilet paper in one. In my bag with my food, which usually has my cup and my spoon, I have a separate alcohol gel, and it's 2 ounces, I believe, for here. All right. Now, my reasoning always for that is I want to clean my hands when I eat with my clean gel. I want to clean my hands when I'm done with a separate gel. Does that make sense? Okay. Sanitary. I don't want to be having to reach into my food bag or the same Ziploc pulling out which alcohol gel I don't remember and going to the bathroom and then coming and eating. So I use one for my food and one stays in here, and I usually have them look two different. Like I'll go to Bath and Body Works and get like a nice daddy teakwood one with my meal, and then I don't know, some hardcore pure rubbing alcohol for the toiletry one. All right. Remember the patches, clear, visible, Racing the Planet, and your flag. All right. The 4 desert ones, I don't think they really do much anymore. Usually if you see these, it's older runners that have been around for a little while, but you know, I love these patches. They look great. You know, good times, but visible, visible, visible. All right. Now, a couple things that aren't mandatory, but I think you guys should know about, and I'll touch on food in a minute. Now, sleeping pads, you know, there's two kinds. There's, you know, the blow up air mattresses. All right. Now, these are really great because the weight's pretty comparable to foam, maybe a little heavier. They're super comfy to lay on. You got a good R rating or an insulation under you, and it's just nice and padded. Now, the downsides to those, if you get a hole in this and you can't find it, you have a deflated mattress. It does take a little bit of energy when you come in, of course, to blow these up. Some have a mouthpiece. I've seen people with the little motors, and the nice new ones actually have like the bag where you just kind of puff the air into them and you fill it up that way so you don't have to blow into it. But if I'm just there having fun, I'm going to bring myself an air mattress. The little bit of volume and weight, I don't really mind. You know, your other kind are going to be your foam, okay? You know, these are nice because you still get a really good R rating, of course. Even with the thicker ones, they're not, you know, not quite as soft. It's a little more firm. But, you know, your good side is if it tears, if it gets punctured, it's still a good old mat. All right. Most of these two do have to be carried on the outside of your pack somehow. So they are going to be a little bit more bulky. All right. So you'll see people with them attached to them. Some people cut them in half and they'll just have a piece just enough to cover their back. Honestly, for that, I just will bring a little half-back air mattress and be happy. All right, guys. Poles. I do not have a pair of poles here, but everyone knows trekking poles. If you're going to be trekking the race or running trekking, I would recommend bringing poles. They're going to make your life happy. It's nice to move with poles. If you're climbing up hills or coming down something steep, poles are going to help a lot for you guys. Most of them are collapsible. They're lightweight. You can attach them to your pack. They can attach, some of them go in the front or on the on your pack on the front here. But yeah, poles, I think super handy. I just don't use them. I'm not really anywhere where I can train with them here in the flatlands of Miami, Florida, but poles are great. Okay. Now, something really important that I want to touch base with you guys is nutrition. Now, this isn't going to be the full-fledged nutrition talk because if you've seen any of my videos, you know food, calories, I can do a whole big episode on that. All right. And we may do one for you guys in the near future. But overall, remember, you need 14,000 calories. Okay. Now, one little pointer I'm going to give is yes, we're racing 25 to 30 miles a day. Yes, there's a 50 to 60 mile long march. All right. You're burning more calories than you're consuming. Okay. Don't try to pack that many calories, you know, to bring 25,000 calories because you're just not going to fit it in there. It's amazing how well the human body will adapt very rapidly if you eat correctly. Okay? So I love Expedition Foods. Um, you know, with the different foods, there's freeze dried. Okay, now freeze dried is it's rapidly dried. It maintains all its nutrition, retains all its mineral content and its calories. It's very lightweight, and to me, across the board, there's multiple ones. They still taste pretty darn good when you pour some hot water or even cold water into them. Okay, um, this is like scrambled egg and cheese. I love this guy. Mac and cheese. I love mac and cheeses. But Expedition Foods has vegan. They have breakfast. They have dinners. They have small lunches. There's all different kinds of things you can mix and match. Okay. Um, when you travel, because of the rules going into other countries, leave your food in the packs. All right. When you get to your destination and you're in your room, you're relaxed, pull out all your Ziploc bags, pull out all your little mini packs, and go ahead and start opening your food, and you can start separating it into small little condensed containers. Now you can bring all of these. I have done one race where I brought every meal like this. It was my very first one. It was Gobi in 2015. My bag was really heavy. It was exploding, but I made it work, you know? But you can separate these out, guys. You can. And if you look back at other videos, and maybe I'll do another one, you can make this work, all right? But freeze-dried food is one of your best. There's dehydrated food also, okay? So dehydrated would be usually it's heated slowly. The water is pretty well taken out of it. It does lose some of the nutrition quality, but it retains more weight and more volume. Okay, that would be like freeze-dried fruit, like, you know, dried apples, apricots. I mean, things that do taste good, but there's some weight with them, so be careful with that. And then there's usually like MREs, all right, meals ready to eat. That's more military. So that is food where you do not need to heat it up, add water, do anything. Comes sealed in a pretty bulky pack. You open it up and you eat it right out of the container. All right. Again, those come as kits. They're pretty heavy because they maintain all the water in them, and they're really bulky. I've seen a couple people with some small little MREs over the years. I've never ran with one. A total freeze-dried guy. When I'm on course, I do bring chews. I have bars. You know, there are powders that you can add to, you know, your drinks for your electrolytes. All right, very important. There are gels. All right, a lot of people love gels. I'm not a gel guy. They upset my stomach a little bit, but people love them. There is all different kinds of sizes, all different types. I will say that honey is probably my favorite. If I have to carry any kind of a liquid, I'll bring little honey packets. That for me is downright the best. All right. But there's all different kinds of ways. But, you know, look at your food, dehydrated, freeze dried, MREs. There's different types, but stick with your freeze dried selection. All right. It's going to be easier and better. And remember too, with your mandatory, of course, you know, bring a spoon. There's all different kinds. Sporks. This is, I think this is Expedition Foods. I just like a big old spoon to eat with. I think this is maybe Sea to Summit little cup. All right. Nice hot water, tea, coffee. Really, really nice. If you really want to get fancy living, you can bring yourself your own little bowl. I have raced with this a couple times. I will say I love it. I do, because you can put your food in here, you put your container on it, it warms it up. You actually kind of, you know, humanized a little bit eating out of a container. But whatever you guys want to do, all right? But you don't have to bring a whole bunch. You know, if you do it, you can bring just a couple things, or mandatory, just your cup and your spoon. I've seen people with cut water bottles use water, just a little half cut water bottle as their sippy cup. I mean, honestly, I just, for $9.99, get yourself just a cup. And Racing the Planet has some collapsible cups now. I do not have one. I should have got one to show you. They're super cool little mugs. They've given them out with the coats the last 1 or 2 races. Same thing like this with a little handle for the coffee. Awesome. Hands down, awesome. Electrolytes, salt. You know, you need enough for, I believe, 30 liters. All right. Bring what you need and think about how long you're going to be on course. If you're going to be really fast, you know, you don't need as much to sustain yourself while you're out there, to a point. If you're trekking more, you're going to need more supplements, salts, and water hydration, because you're going to be slower moving, you're going to be sweating more, you're going to have more sun exposure, wind exposure, just going to be beat up a little bit more by the environment and you know, the surrounding area that's on top of us. All right. I like salt caps. There's, you know, chewable electrolyte tabs you can carry with you. Just be smart. The doctors will look and ask about your food, your nutrition, your salt. Do you have a plan? You know, really important. So look at that. Think about it. Some people like to have it all typed out. You know, like me, since I've done it for a while, myself is all self-contained in one little area. You know, they kind of already know, you know, some of us what our plan is before we even get there. But, you know, new people, they will take time. So think about what you're doing. Think about how much you're going to use. You don't have to overdo it, but make sure you have enough. All right? And I want to say, my friends, so I've gotten into using a little fanny pack during runs instead of having them on my side. So this is a Raid Light one, super lightweight. It's a quick snap. Let me see. Now I won't be able to do it. Boom. I never used to like anything, but I have found that having my snacks right in front of me here, or my phone, anything, this is clutch. This works really well, and I never did it. I thought it was funny, but having a bag on your front or having a pouch here instead of trying to reach around on the side packs, this works really well. A little hint, yes, it's a little bit more worn weight, all right? So your worn weight is clothes on your body, okay? But for what this is and the ease of having something on you, oh, awesome, awesome. Think about it. Also, you're going to come in, we're going to be dirty. These little, actually they're called Big Otters. So they're little clean towels. You put a couple drops of water and they come into a big sheet where you can kind of wipe yourself off, your face. Work really good, guys. Really, really good. And I usually carry 1 or 2 for every day. I put it in my meal pack. Boom. You're ready to wipe yourself off while you're having your snack. All right. Flip-flops, again, not mandatory, but recommended. So I'll go to Old Navy, Target. I'll get myself a $2.99 pair of flip-flops, just enough to have for the week. A lot of people at the hotels, I think everybody that's been in any stage race has seen these. They're super lightweight. We can use them for a couple of days, and then we toss them out when we're done with them. So anything you can just use to keep your feet so you're not wearing your shoes all the time. Plus, it's nice to be able to air out your feet, which flip-flops do work a little bit better than these. I've even cut the toes out of these. just so my toes air out, but I have something to kind of walk on without having sneakers or socks on. So another little trick for you guys for gear, okay? And I want to say, really, short of, you know, bring your watch, bring your camera, or your phone, all right? I always have my watch. I do bring one battery backup, a little tiny one for one bump. And then I bring, of course, my phone, all right? The phone can video, you know, connect to your watch sometimes, you know, depending on the Wi-Fi and the service. Most times there is no service guys out there. Don't think you're going to be out there texting, you know, all the time. You know, we're out there to get away from technology in the world. That's what makes like the race so great. 5 or 6 days on course, the world's not going to end if you don't contact someone. And remember, they update us all the time. They're great with monitoring. The checkpoints are amazing. Water, doctor, the gear is there, shade. They're always ready for us. All right. So you never need to worry about racing on a day and having something be too far or not enough people. Carlos, Sam, Mary, the medical team, all the volunteers, everybody's on top of everything. I will probably say one of the, if not the most organized races, on top of everything that you'll ever enjoy. And I've been through quite a few. You'll never hear or see if there's a problem. For the racers, it's always the racers, guys. And I think that's kind of what makes it great. Anytime there's an emergency issue, they're on top of it. They're there. They'll move us. They know what to do. They have a plan on top of a plan, usually on top of a third plan, just in case something happens. And yes, I have been there for flooded river crossings, sandstorms, crazy temperatures, rainstorms, windstorms in the middle of a desert that haven't happened in a decade. I've been through and seen most of it. Snowstorms I have been caught in that never weren't supposed to happen, but did. So, you know, everything with this gear all does have a purpose. Even my friend, the poncho. But the gear is important. Carry what you need. Pack what you need first. Then after you've packed your bag, then look at extra things. If you want an extra shirt, if you want an extra hat, if you want more socks, if you want more food, pack your bag first, see where you sit, and then add something extra if you want it. All right, guys, this is Michael Williams with Racing the Planet. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps. I really, really love this. You guys know I love this. If you ever have questions, if you ever see me at a race, I'm on Facebook. I'm Ultra Mike Williams on Instagram. You always reach out to Racing the Planet. You know, we're all here to always help. All right, guys, enjoy. Have a great race. Be safe. And remember, 25-liter pack is enough, everyone. You'll be fine. I promise. My friends, goodbye. Enjoy.